things up. So why don't we go ahead and get into that one?
The Pittsburgh Steelers. 10-7 last season. They were second in the division. Obviously, they made the wild card against Baltimore, and we were subject to have to watch that game. Their offensive EPA per play was negative .027, which was 20th. Pass block win rate was 62% at 13th, and run block win rate was 71% at 18th. This was relatively a young offensive line last season. James Daniels goes down pretty early. Their first-round pick, Troy Fautanu, goes down early. But for the most part, they figured it out, and it was a pretty good offensive line. I'll give them that. And then defensive EPA per play was negative .019, which was ninth. Pass rush win rate was 46% at third, and then run stop win rate was 30% at 17th. So a pretty decent defense. They're always just gonna have a pretty decent defense. And then Aaron Rodgers, talk about him as a quarterback. .057 EPA per play, which was 19th. 44.3% success rate, which was 24th. Their offseason, they were kind of wheeling and dealing. We'll get into their trades that they made. They made a ton of them. But let's start with the TJ Watt number. 3 years, 123. Again, piggybacking off the Jamar Chase. Like, it's another extension of that mold, 41 annual. I think currently he is the highest paid at non-quarterback. I think Parsons is going to beat that. He's under contract till 2029. Still no void years on his contract, by the way, Pittsburgh. So that's interesting. Deshaun Elliott, their safety, got a 2-year, $12 million extension prior to the Jalen Ramsey trade that we'll talk about. He's under contract till 2028. And then Jalen Warren, he was a notable guy they brought back on an RFA offer. 1 year's $5 million. Everybody loves him more than Najee, so I think keeping him at a price the exact same as Najee, probably some people were like, whoa, they're valued the same? Yeah. But then you get into their trades. Was it the first day? Was it the second day? I can't remember, but DK Metcalf became a Steeler. They traded the 52nd overall pick that got moved around, so it's not like a strict player for player. But they then signed him to a 4-year, $132 million extension. It put him in the top 5 of receivers. He's under contract till 2030. And then simultaneously, a few months later, they traded George Pickens, the similar receiver. They traded him for a 2026 third and a 27 fifth. The reason I bring up the fifth is that'll be used later. Jalen Ramsey, they, of course, acquired by trading Minkah Fitzpatrick, and they kept his extension that he had with the Dolphins, 4 years, $84 million over the next obvious 4 years. 2029 is when his contract is due to expire. And then Jonnu Smith was also included in the trade. It was a late-round pick swap. A 27 fifth is what they traded for Jonnu Smith. So kind of a little throw-in of the Pickens trade they used as an asset to get a distressed asset in Jonnu Smith. They gave him a little $12 million extension. I wonder if there's a, down the pike big extension. If he's really, really good this year, they kind of piggyback off this 1-year extension. He's under contract for 2 years. We'll see. And then their free agency, again, the most notable, Aaron Rodgers, signed pretty late, so it doesn't affect their comp formula, which is really, really important when we get to the departures. Darius Slay also came in 1 year, $10 million. Malik Harrison, 2 years, $10 million. Off-ball linebacker Juan Thornhill, 1 year, $3 million. And then Bobby Trees, Robert Woods, receiver, 1 year, kind of the vet minimum, $2 million. Their draft, again, pretty tame. They passed on Shador how many times, and how many times did Mel Kiper's head try and explode? Derek Harmon was in the first round. Caleb Johnson, who, as soon as Caleb Johnson made it to round 3, whoever got him was going to be a winner for me. Obviously, I think he was one of the best players at the position, and he falls to round 3. I thought he was a first-round player. And then Jack Sawyer, edge rusher out of Ohio State, goes in round 4. They also got Will Howard in there, threw that in there. And then their departures. Major departures. Minkah Fitzpatrick, he leaves in the trade. Dan Moore goes to the Titans. Dante Jackson, George Pickens is traded away. And then both the quarterbacks from last year, Russell Wilson and Justin Fields. Najee Harris goes to the Chargers. James Daniels goes to the Dolphins. Sorry. I was thinking of where he went. But with the way they are currently constructed and Rodgers signing late and the maneuvers they made, they are projected to have 4 comp picks next year. A third, a fourth, a fifth, and a sixth. That is something rare for the Steelers. So they're projected to have 12 picks next year, even with trading for Metcalf and trading for Ramsey. They didn't give much asset management, like asset capital in the future. So that's what's interesting. And then the season outlook question, with the moves they made this offseason, is their ceiling actually higher? That's what I'm trying to figure out, because like these are the two major things with the Steelers. The last time they won the division was 2020. They started 11-0 and they finished 12-4. They had that weird game to the Washington football team and Alex Smith, and they ended up getting housed by Cleveland. The COVID game, Kevin Stefanski couldn't coach it. He was in his basement. They got just obliterated. And from the first snap that went over Big Ben's head, they had no chance. That's the last time they won the division. So you're probably asking, when's the last time they won a playoff game? 2016. The Killer Bees were still like the rave of football, the rave of offensive football. They made the conference title against Tom Brady's Patriots. And oh, by the way, the 28-3 comeback is more recent than the Steelers' last playoff win. I just like realizing that kind of like shattered my brain a little bit, but it's true. That's how long it's been. And they've had like 5 opportunities to win a playoff game, by the way. And they've been down double digits in every single game. So when I ask, is their ceiling any higher, if from making these decisions, bringing in Metcalf, bringing in Ramsey, bringing in Rodgers, it feels like a Rodgers-esque swing. They're swinging because they believe the quarterback is that much better than the last guy, or guys in this case. Do we believe they could actually win a division or win a playoff game? I don't think so, but they're maneuvering as if they can. And so, but again, they have 12 picks next year. So I think I struggle with this team because I think there's a lot of just question marks that most teams I would be like, oh, you're kind of swinging for the wrong reasons. But then it's like, it's Pittsburgh. Like it's just what they do is what you kind of have to say every time. But I've talked too long about this team. You guys join me.
Yeah, I mean, it's what kind of the conversation that we had when all the Ramsey stuff happened. It's just scary. They're going all in on this season. I mean, from like the front office standpoint, and they're making all these moves as if they were contenders. But I'm looking up and down this roster, and there's not really much confidence for me in their ability to do that. Like, let alone even be a playoff team. And hearing that stat too, by the way, is crazy. I mean, they haven't won a playoff game last time they did it was pre-COVID, which is like a wild thing to put in perspective. It's ridiculous. And again, I question a lot of decisions they make, especially considering they have no plan at quarterback outside of Rodgers as well for the future. But it's going to be an interesting team to watch for sure.
When I look at this roster, you know what the first thing I notice is? Here, hold on a minute. Let me pull this up. There we go. So
DK Metcalf is going to finish as a top 5 fantasy wide receiver. That's what I noticed.
What I noticed, you're close. This is the most Aaron Rodgers wide receiver room I've ever seen. Like outside of the New York Jets where he just constructed it himself. But like more so, my point being, like this is something where it's like, wow, that's a lot of nothing outside of DK Metcalf. And then it's like, but he's going to pull this out of them somehow. It's just Aaron Rodgers, right? And to me, like the run game is going to be fun to see what happens between these two. You know, you talked about Caleb Johnson, and I think that's a fun pick, honestly. And Kenneth Gainwell as a third string is also not a bad option. You hope that Aaron Rodgers stays healthy, as you do for any quarterback in the league, but specifically in the Steelers situation, because I feel like once he goes down, if he goes down, it's more like that's it. You know what I mean? It's the same conversation that we have about like the Dolphins, for example. Like if Tua's healthy, like they're good, or they can be. But as far as Aaron goes, like it's a bit of a sketchy situation as well when you look at the rest of the quarterbacks in the room. Now, the tight ends that you talked about, Jonnu Smith, Pat Freiermuth, that's a fun group to kind of have, for this team. But overall, I mean, the secondary is, obviously a little bit weaker in my opinion since getting rid of Minka. But it's still a little fun. Slay joining them, like you said. Still having Joey Porter, Juan Thornhill, Jalen Ramsey. That's a fun room. And I think that, I might be a little bit higher on them than you guys may be, but I'm excited to figure out exactly where we're at because that's what it's time for. So let's go ahead and let's get started here. To start us off, I have them beating the Jets, losing to the Seahawks, beating the Patriots, losing to the Vikings, and then beating Cleveland to start 3-2 after 6 weeks in the bye week. Matt? Ooh.
I have them starting 3-0, beating the Jets, beating the Seahawks, beating the Patriots. I think it's, again, just that's the Pittsburgh mentality. Beat the teams in front of you. And I think they're going to go over to Dublin, lose to the Vikings. They're going to go into that bye 3-1, and then they're going to come out of that bye beating Cleveland. So I have them starting 4-1.
Yeah, I'm not too far off of either of you guys. I'm right there with you in terms of record, Ryan. I have them winning those first 2 games against the Jets and Seahawks, and then losing those next 2 games against the Patriots and Vikings, and then getting a victory within the division against the Browns. They're starting off 3-2.
I'll have them lose to the Bengals. I think that they're actually going to beat the Packers here. They're going to, shocker. Bears fan thinks the Packers are going to lose. Then they'll beat the Colts. They'll lose to the Chargers. They'll lose to the Bengals, and then they're actually going to beat the Bears here. And I know it's crazy for me to say, but until the Bears can beat Aaron Rodgers, I'm picking Aaron Rodgers. So I like being right.
I'm going to I think they beat the Bengals on Thursday night. I'm going to save the Packers game because you'll see why. They are going to beat the Colts. They're going to lose to the Chargers. They're going to lose to the Bengals. They're going to beat the Bears because he owns you.
Yeah.
I'm glad we're all in agreement on that Bears game because, I mean, I'll start there. I do have them beating the Bears because, again, Aaron Rodgers does own you guys. But we'll jump back up.
You went out of your way to find the Bears game.
Yes, I did.
We're just gonna hone in on that one for half a second.
I'm gonna jump back up there to the top. I'm gonna have them lose those 2 games against the Bengals and Packers, but then I'm gonna have them win those next 4 games against the Colts, Chargers, Bengals, and Bears.
And then to round us off, I only have them winning 2 more games all season. That's going to be the Dolphins and Browns games because they'll lose to the Bills, Ravens, Lions, and Ravens. No, wait. I think I had them beating the Ravens actually there. So that's my bad.
You didn't.
I did. Okay, sweet. I mean, even better. Awesome. So Aaron Rodgers loses again. 8-9 for the Steelers. They'll finish 3rd place in the division after they lose the tiebreaker to the Bengals.
Yeah, I have them going on a 4-game skid here, losing to Buffalo.
Hold on a second, Matt. I'm so sorry. I have to correct myself. That wasn't over 500. They'll beat the Ravens week 18, and Ravens get bumped down to 13-4, and
look at that on the fly.
Yeah, 9-8 for the Steelers. It had to happen. I'm sorry. Please repeat yourself. I cut you off. I apologize.
I have them going on a 4-game skid. They're going to lose to Buffalo. They're then going to lose to Baltimore. They're going to lose at home on Monday Night Football to the Dolphins. They're going to lose to the Lions. And, oh, by the way, Shador time in Week 17, they're going to lose to the Browns. And then they're going to beat the Ravens. So I'm going to go back to that Packers game. They're going to be 8-8. And the Mike Tomlin streak will die at the hands of the Packers because the Packers' hatred for Aaron Rodgers will outweigh the good in the Packers will overcome Aaron Rodgers. And maybe like the Dark Knight, because they're going to be wearing those stupid yellow uniforms, Bane's going to attack them. Bane's going to attack, what is it? It's Heinz Field. They're going to attack Heinz Field. Yeah. Bane is. So they're going to lose because
Stadium or whatever.
Yeah, they're going to lose to the Packers because of Aaron Rodgers' hatred is going to destroy the field. And I'm just yapping now, but they're going to be 8-9, and this dies. This Mike Tomlin streak is over.
Dude, who do I root for? Honestly, like, do I even
Bane?
root for anybody?
Bang.
Yeah.
I hope I'm getting that right. Did Bane attack it?
It was
Yeah,
Bane.
it
Yeah,
was
you're
Bane.
good. You're good.
Okay.
I'll make it easy. They're gonna lose those first 5 games, and then, as I said within that Ravens, segment there, I'm gonna have them win against the Ravens. I'm right there with you guys. If you guys are keeping count with me, I have them finishing 8-9,
Yeah.
Which is fantastic that we're all in agreement. That might have been the first time.
All right, let's check the odds.
No, Ben. I had them at 9-8,
Yeah,
finishing
he
just over
switched it,
500. I switched.
Oh no! Oh no!
I had to. It was a part of the bit.
So yeah, Vegas has got it. Over 8.5 is plus 105. Under is minus 125. So again, like, plus money on Mike Tomlin continuing the streak. But like, also wouldn't that be so poetic where like Mike Tomlin's streak ends because of Aaron Rodgers? Like Aaron Rodgers isn't good enough to win half of his games. That'd be crazy. But like, oh, by the way, he's 40.
I want to live in that world.
I would like to see him play that Ravens game and win it. I always like seeing guys walk off the field the final time winning. But maybe.
Yeah. I don't know.